last bits of test.
Yeah, sweet.
I think we're ready to go, aren't we?
Things sound good.
All right. Hey Dan, how are you doing, man?
I'm keeping well, man. How are you?
I'm very good. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I would love to talk about weight loss a lot, especially for my clients, your clients, all the usual questions they always have, diet-wise, exercise-wise, and I think I'm a big believer in, try testing few things, ask different people and see what is the thing and what really makes the difference. So could you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers, please?
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, first things first, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the invite. It's always nice being on someone else's podcast as opposed to just recording my own. But yeah, my name is Dan Rees. I am a 24-year-old online coach based here in Dublin. I used to work in Westwood and Leopardstown, which is where I would have known yourself just through kind of the Westwood kind of crew there. I've been a PT/online coach now for the last, was it 4 or 5 years now? I was in college briefly, studying of all things music and German, completely pulled a 180 and I was like, do you know what? This is fun, but I don't really want to do this as a career. The plan was to go into secondary school teaching, and like the thought of that initially was like, oh, this will be cool. But then the more I went into it, I was like, do you know what? The rest of my life doing this doesn't sound too fun. So I was like, you know what? Actually, a friend of mine who also worked in Westwood. Do you remember Elliot Higgins by any chance?
Not sure.
No, he would have been in Westwood. He joined Westwood to work there about a year before me. And then because he was living with me at the time, and he dropped out of college about a year before me. He was about 3 weeks in and dropped out of college, and then he wanted to do PT. So he did his PT course, got a job in Westwood, and kind of as I was in the position of kind of transitioning out of, okay, I'm considering leaving college. Now what do I do? I was kind of like, well, I love training. I love, just doing what I can do for myself, between looking after myself from a food point of view, from sleep point of view. I just like doing things that made me feel really, really good from that point of view. And training, I loved it. So, and obviously having him done it before, I was like, okay, well, that gives me a little bit of confidence that like I can go into personal training and make a name for myself, make a good living career for myself and do all that. So I then did my PT course when I dropped out. I think January 2018, I think it was when I did my course. Started working in Westwood the following April. Actually worked in the gym for about 9 days beforehand. So I applied for 2 gyms at the same time. One gym got back to me straight away. And then I got an email from Rory O'Connor. We know him.
He hired you.
He hired me. And then about 9 days into working this other gym, I had to really awkwardly go in and say, hey guys, listen, I know I've just started, but I actually have to go, which was awful because they had the gym I was working in. That gym had like a massive change in management staff. Mm-hmm. I think they'd literally pulled a complete 180, like all their managers, staff had all left and been replaced. And they were like, yeah, we're going to start this brand new team, the 4 or 5 of us. And I was one of them. And I was like, okay, this is really exciting. But I got this opportunity in a really good gym closer to me for like better opportunity. So I'm going to go in there instead. So I was there for about 2.5 years. And then once kind of COVID and pandemic stuff hit and the gym's kind of closed up, I got all my clients who were one-to-one, I put them all online. And then as kind of lockdowns were more frequent, I was obviously putting a lot more work into just my own coaching online and building that up and, upskilling myself. And I hate the word upskilling, it makes sense super businessy, but like upskilling, and educating myself more on, how to communicate better with my clients online. Because comparing online to one-to-one, it's easy to communicate with someone one-to-one, whereas online you have to be very kind of smart with how you do it to get your message across and to talk to them properly. And then naturally kind of putting more time into online coaching compared to one-to-one, that got significantly busier to the point where around the end of November, I can't believe my years now, 2020, end of 2020, around November, I was like, right, I'm going to, pack in one-to-one. I was actually teaching a class and it was outside. It was when we couldn't do classes inside anymore. And I remember I was a class of 2 people. And it was CX Works with all the bands. And I had one member who was doing absolutely fine. And then another member who was like slapping herself with bands. And like, she's, it can slip out of your foot and slap you in the thigh. And she was giving it to me for this happening to her. And I was like, hang on a minute, love. Like, no. Like, you've just slapped yourself with the band. This isn't my fault. I'm teaching you exactly what I need to teach you. That's not my fault. And then like, it was a combination of being killed by a member for herself snapping herself with a band, with the fact that I was in like 3 pairs of socks, a pair of tracksuit bottoms, 2 t-shirts, 2 hoodies, a coat, pair of gloves, teaching a class. It's like shivering. I was like, no, I'm done here now.
You're out.
I'm out. So I think I went in the next day, handed my notice in. I think I stayed for about a month afterwards. And since January 1st, 2021, I've been just fully online doing my thing, coaching the same way, but just trying to build up, help more people, because it's the beauty of online. You can help a lot more people compared to one-to-one without it just completely taking up your time. So yeah, that was a brief 30-second intro to myself.
It's more like a 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I tend to ramble a lot.
That's good, and really thanks for sharing your story. I had very similar stuff going on with clients like that left Westwood Club in July 2021. So I lasted a little bit longer, and also I just realized, during the lockdowns we didn't have a job. We were unemployed basically, and I realized like I need to own my business. So I had an aha moment, and I kind of reinvented myself. Thanks to the CX Works bands and all that coaching, I actually started to offer classes and also private sessions with bands. So I realized we don't need even dumbbells, barbells, bunch of bands. And then started expanding by speaker, bought some barbell as well. And, it's all in my boot.
Yeah.
And now I go to clients and train them anywhere they want.
Yeah. I think that was one great thing about lockdowns from a personal training point of view. It's kind of like, you had two bands of people, one who were kind of like, oh no, like my gyms have closed, now what do I do? And a lot of PTs who just stopped being PTs, like even people I know from Westwood who just kind of like left Westwood and went to other kind of fields of work, which is quite sad in a sense, because like, people start, no one starts as a personal trainer, like, oh, I don't want to do this job. Everyone starts as a personal trainer because they're really excited to actually be a personal trainer. Like, it is a really exciting job when you're working people, helping people, you're in that kind of gym environment. Everyone starts as a personal trainer because they're excited to just do that for life. And then when like COVID hits, and then you have people kind of recognizing like, oh, this job is actually it's not as stable as I want it to be. And they kind of recognize, okay, well, I'm getting to whatever age, I need to be taking things a little more seriously, and this isn't working for me. What do I do now? Like, it was a bit of a wake up call for a lot of people, but I think in a nice turn though, for some PTs like myself anyway, it was like a really nice wake up call to the point that's kind of like, okay, yeah, if I'm super reliant on this gym for work, it's kind of like once that like COVID came around, there was 2.5 years or so where we were so unsure of like, okay, will I be in work next month? Will I be off work? I'm watching the news like, am I going to be out of work for 6 months again? It's like, so it made a lot of PTs very much kind of think like, okay, I need to focus on my own stuff. And it's kind of when you meet it, and like I have a lot of friends who are coaches. I have a lot of friends in Galway who are actually coaches, funnily enough, and they did the same thing. They kind of recognized, I need to make something for myself, because if I'm in this gym, they kind of own me, they own what I do, and like if that goes, I go. Whereas if I have my own thing on this, if I have my own coaching business, could be online, one-to-one, like park boot camps, whatever it is, your own facility, whatever that is, kind of like that's your own thing. So yeah, in a sense, it probably, the lockdown probably was the best thing that happened to me from a work point of view.
Same here.
From a business point of view, but I know for a lot of people it just went the other way. So yeah, it's funny kind of seeing how that kind of played out for everyone, really.
When the opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah.
When you have enough connections with people. And I've noticed a lot of people were actually basically they were asking me if I would train them outside. And so I just realized that, I had enough of a reputation and name. So people were requesting, and, just ask and it's given kind of thing. Like, if you don't ask your clients if they would move on with you, like the answer will be no every time you don't ask.
Yeah.
No, if you ask, you'll be surprised how many yes you're gonna get.
Exactly. It's like worst case scenario, you're gonna know, but like, it's like anything is like, you're not gonna 100 doors to make a sale. 99 might close, but one will say yes. It's kind of like you'll never get a yes unless you ask. Like, worst case scenario, they'll say no, but like on the off chance they'll say yes, and you'd be good to go. So yeah, no, I'm quite happy because I set up Coach by Dan like when I qualified as a PT. Now, it wasn't fantastic back when I started off because I was just a new PT trying to run an online business, so it wasn't going very well. But kind of exactly. But as I just had it going in the background, and obviously when lockdown happened, it was kind of like, okay, I have a thing now to kind of just keep me going. So when the opportunity came, I had this thing already building up. It's like, cool, let's just put more attention to that and see what happens.
Sounds good. Yeah. Now we can perhaps jump into the main questions for the weight loss. So first question I have for you is the myths versus reality, the people's expectations versus what actually they should be doing. Yeah. I think from a weight loss point of view in particular, I think
one of the most important bits of advice you can give anyone who's looking to lose weight is, it's not the whole like, look at, your calories. It's like manage your own expectations. Because like, it's the difference where someone loses 2 pounds and feeling great and feeling like shit, I'm presuming you're okay with a bit of swearing.
Yeah.
Cool. I swear. Yeah, cool. But like, if so, it's the difference between having a client who loses 2 pounds or 1 pound a week and them feeling like this is the best thing ever. Oh, well, this wasn't enough, and actually managing expectations and knowing kind of like what's realistic and what's, not realistic is a big thing there. Like you'll have some clients who are like, okay, well, maybe I want to lose like 20 kilos in 3-4 months for a wedding or for a holiday. And you're kind of like, that's like, let's rein this in a little bit here, 20 kilos in 4 months, for example, that's 5 kilos a month, depending on what they've done beforehand to work on that weight loss goal. It's kind of like, well, things haven't worked very well beforehand. Why do you all of a sudden feel like you have the ability to lose 5 kilos a month? I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's kind of like, it's not as realistic. Whereas I have other clients who are like, oh, well, I want to lose 5 pounds in 6 months. You're like, you probably can do that quite quickly. You take a big enough shit in the morning, you'll lose 5 pounds there and then, so it's kind of like, I think the big thing when it comes to weight loss is very much managing expectations and not doing it in a way that kind of it's going to bring someone down, but kind of like, you don't want someone overshooting their goal or undershooting their goal. You want to be like, right, what's a nice little middle ground we can find so that, we can notice progress as it comes and be really happy when we see it could be half a pound down, 2 pounds down, whatever it is, and know what the next step is to kind of keep you going in that direction, essentially. Yeah. How about you?
What I think about it? Yeah, I also try to be sort of realistic about what people actually can get out of it. I don't really measure too much, but I realized that some clients have tendency to revert back to bad habits of overeating. And if we don't track it, they could be like, oh yeah, I'm this amount heavier now.
Yeah.
Half year later, where I was thinking there will be the same amount later.
Yeah.
But that's my expectation versus their reality.
Yeah.
And it's the thing is that most of my clients don't expect me to force them for some sort of elite level of results. They want to exercise long term. They want to feel good. So I don't really train people who have a super high expectations, but if they want, they can tell me, although I'm ready for the next step, and they know they can ask me for advice to bring them to the next level.
Yeah,
I'll be more than pleased to do that. And I think the main thing is just to hook them on exercise, knowing that they do it for many other reasons than just weight loss. It's for mental well-being, it's the health, immune system, and it's the long-term consistency. So in a sense, instead of just being like some sort of dictator telling them what to do, I'm their company, making sure I motivate them, inspire them, making good company. That's it.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned a really good point there, which is like, when it comes to what like any of the goal is, it's kind of like, and there's a great book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, where it's kind of like, the more you focus on the actual thing, the less likely it is to happen. It's kind of like, if I want to climb Mount Everest and I'm just looking up at this mountain, it's like, that's not going to help me get there. Whereas if I'm going right foot, right hand, left foot, left hand, obviously a lot harder to climb Mount Everest than just that. But like if I'm focusing more on the process itself as opposed to the actual outcome I want, like there's going to be a time when you climb that mountain, you're going to be putting your right hand ahead to grab a bit of rock and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually at the top of this mountain, Now, I'm sure climbing Mount Everest is a lot harder than that, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, if I have a goal where I want to lose, say 20 pounds, I want to weight loss goal, I want to lose 2 stone, 20 pounds, 10, whatever it is. It's kind of like, okay, stop focusing. It's great that we have the goal there. Like, you want to lose that weight, fantastic, happy days, brilliant. How are we going to do that? And it's not so much a case of like, let's stop focusing on the outcome. Let's stop focusing on this. Like, it's cool you want to lose that amount of weight, but like, don't care about that number right now. What you need to focus on, like, right, well, how are we going to get there? Like, from a food point of view, like, how are we going to ingrain better habits from a food point of view? How are we going to make sure you can have a pretty nicely balanced, nutrient dense meal, but you can also go out every now and then with your friends and have a few drinks and have a few meals and actually enjoy yourself. Because, if you're not able to do that, then, something's got to change. How are you going to be, if you're a busy person, you're a mom, you're a dad, you have kids, you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're working 100 hours a week, whatever you're doing, how are you going to make compromises to your life and to this and that, to, you know, be a little more active, you know, to go for a few extra walks, to set a step goal and to get that up higher, to, if you're looking to do it, to get into a gym and start training, to work out consistently and to actually get stronger. Like, because I think the biggest thing that's going to compliment someone on their weight loss journey is how can they actually fall in love with that process of kind of like, you know, because, you know, looking after your diet, putting more time into cooking, putting more time into going for walks, putting more time into training. It's kind of like, it's not easy. And to get somewhat philosophical, it's kind of like anything good that we want in life will come with some element of struggle. And like, we're not going to just struggle if we don't know there's a good thing coming. It's kind of like, well, taking an extra half an hour a day to cook a meal, that is a struggle. You know, going for a walk, like now when it's fucking roasting outside, you know, and you're like, if I'm wearing all black and a black pair of jeans, if I was going for a walk now, I'd be sweating outside, you know. It's kind of like, well, how can I make that a more enjoyable experience for myself? Or when it's freezing cold and it's raining, how can I make that a more enjoyable experience for myself? You know, it's kind of like, these things aren't easy. Training, exercising, squatting with a bar on your back that could easily crush you onto the floor. That's not an easy and nice thing to go through, but it's kind of like, you know, the outcome of that is going to be really good. So it's kind of like, don't like have the outcome in mind. You know, it's going to make you happy, but that's where this struggle becomes, you know, why we should actually get it done. And so the key thing is making sure we actually enjoy that process there. So again, if you're following like a gym program, you know, and you hate doing deadlifts and burpees, well, just don't put deadlifts and burpees into your plan. Follow a plan that you enjoy. You know, what you enjoy doing in the gym. Okay, do that more. You know, from a walking point of view, you know, personally, I hate just going for a walk with no reason. I'll put my earphones in, I'll go for a walk with a podcast and that's done. I'll walk to a coffee shop and walk home. I'll give it some purpose, some reasoning. I'll go with a friend, go with my girlfriend. We'll go on a nice little hike, do something like that. I'll make it enjoyable. And from a food point of view, same thing goes there. Calories, macros, protein, this, that. Cool, I have to hit those numbers. But like, I want to hit those numbers in a really enjoyable way. So yeah, making sure you actually enjoy how you get from point A to point B is going to be key. And making sure you know how you actually, for you personally, how you're actually going to enjoy that journey is key. Because once you actually start enjoying the journey, what's going to get you that end goal is going to be far more enjoyable. When you enjoy that, again, you're just going to, oh my God, I'm 20 pounds lighter. When did that fucking happen? When you started enjoying what got you there.
Yeah, that's a good point actually you're making there. What I wanted to say is that I want to say that you know, making it enjoyable as well by focusing on what you can do this week. So let's say you have limited amount of time, sure, but you have some time, yeah, you know. So like if you do certain type of exercise, you only need like 5 minutes, you'll be KO.
Yeah.
You know, so if you really don't have time, like, do we have 10 minutes? I'll show you what you can do in 10 minutes.
That's the thing. Everyone, you know? people love making excuses for why they can't do things. And it's, I get it. It's normal why you'd make excuses. Because like, again, if you tried weight loss 5-6 times and it hasn't worked, you know, it feels like shit going for that 6th time and I failed it again. I get it. It's fair enough why you would make an excuse for it. I'm not saying people who make excuses, you know, fuck you, don't be doing that, you know, be better. Like, no, it makes sense, but it's kind of like one of the most, it's almost, it can be that, but also kind of back up their beliefs like, oh, I'm not in shape because of this thing. Like you're telling yourself a story as to why you aren't where you want to be. You're creating this false narrative that just isn't the case. You know, I remember there's a time when I was working in Westwood and online about 8 months before. Yeah, it was about this time 2 years ago at this point now. 2019, 3 years ago. So I was working, I'd be 6 to 10 in the gym with clients. So 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, like 45-minute long or hour-long PT sessions from about 6 to 10. 10 o'clock, I'd get a coffee in the gym in the cafe and I'd drive home. And then I go straight into my own online work. So I check in with clients. I'd be, you know, writing programs, recording videos for clients, anything to do with online coaching from about 10 to maybe 1:30, 2. 2 o'clock, I'd go to the gym. I'd start a shift at maybe 4 o'clock. I got to the point now when I was at the gym where I very much like, right, I want these hours. Let me do these hours. So I'd be in the gym like, say, 4 o'clock to work. And I'd be closing the gym at 10:30. So between 2 and 4, cool, that's what I'm training. I was working maybe 10, 11, 12 hours, but I was like, right, I don't care if I'm working an extra 14, I'm going to 14 hours, I'm getting this 2-hour gym session in. Now, fair enough, not everyone has 2 hours, that's totally fair. But what I'm trying to say here is like, no matter how busy you are, you've got 168 hours in your week. Okay, let's be real here. There is some time there for you to do something, you know, like if it's a quick 10-minute like circuit, or if it's a, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of doing something, I guarantee
a run.
A run. Like, yeah, listen, like you can go for a run. I ran a marathon last Sunday, and like, yeah, that's a marathon, but like back in December, I could barely run 5 kilometers. I'd run 5 kilometers like 45 minutes, which wasn't a fantastic pace for myself. So if I went for a 20-minute run, your 10-minute run, and I went as much like over 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'd be bollocks when I got home. So it's kind of like, there is time to do something. It's kind of like, I think, and it's such an overlooked aspect of weight loss, or any kind of goal for that matter. It's, can we remove that narrative, that story you're telling yourself, and just like, cut, to be very cliche, cut the bullshit. Like, stop telling yourself this thing to make yourself feel better and to justify why you're not doing something. You want this thing. No one else is going to stop you doing it. No one else is going to help you get there. It's kind of like, once you've accepted that, it's you versus you. And like, the more and more excuses you give yourself, it's kind of like, well, you're not fighting anyone else. You're kind of fighting yourself. You want this thing, but you're making up reasons that don't actually exist why you're not able to get there. It's kind of like, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because no one else in theory really cares. Like, if I want to, if obviously with my clients, I want them to lose weight, obviously, but like, if someone I don't know wants to lose weight, it's kind of like, yeah, cool, crack on. That's your life. That's your thing. If I want to, like, I ran a marathon. I don't think anyone really cared that I was running a marathon. I wanted to run a marathon because I wanted to actually do it for myself. I don't think anyone really cared, like, oh, Dan's doing a marathon, I can't wait till he does it. Like, no one gave a shit that I was doing a marathon. I was doing it for me. I can make up every reason in the book as to why I can't run a marathon, or I can just plan out a plan for 6 months and just do it in 6 months' time, which is what I did. And I ran a marathon. It was great. And so, yeah, to bring that back to what we were saying there, is like, if we can just, enjoy what we're doing, but also limit the reasons we have decided are now a thing as to why we can't do that thing itself. It's kind of like, we're going to give ourselves a much better chance of actually achieving that goal, or at least doing something in line with that goal.
Cool. All right, so we're coming to the part 2 with a little break, and the question is nutrition for weight loss. Is there a particular methodology that you follow, something that you always come back to give people advice? Yeah,
like, I think food is a funny one, because like, there's no one specific thing everyone should be doing. It's not a one size fits all diet thing you should be doing. From a food point of view, when it comes to my clients, what I'll do is, obviously there'll be the background information, knowing kind of like what they like, what they don't like, what they've tried before, and so I know what not to do with them. But then when it comes to nutrition itself for clients with weight loss, you've got so much to pick with. You've got so much to try out. And like, generally speaking, there's going to be things that work for a lot of people, like having higher protein with most meals will keep you feeling fuller longer. Having 3 to 4 meals a day will be better off just from a consistency point of view, and like not feeling hungry, maybe practicing some kind of fasting protocol, so you're having your first meal pushed back to the afternoon, so you have a shorter eating window. Like, there are things that will probably work for most people, so I will generally throw that at them first. But initially, what I'll do with the client is kind of like, right, cool, let's just get the basics set up. This amount of calories, this amount of protein will probably help you with that goal. And things like water and fiber and carbs and fats, yeah, cool, they're important as well. But let's just initially focus on calories and protein, because calories, of course, when you want to lose weight and you be in a deficit of calories, burn more calories than you take in on a consistent basis, you will lose body fat. Cool. Protein just makes things a lot easier from a muscle retention point of view, and from a weight loss point of view, it just keeps you fuller longer. And then from there, like what I'll do with my clients, because I think with nutrition, again, you can't just say to someone with no context, do this thing because it'll work for you, because you don't know if it's going to work for everyone. We want you to adhere to a deficit of calories. We want you to be eating a diet that's quite, varied, nutrient dense, a bit of fruit, bit of veg, bit of everything there, and that's ideal. That's optimally what we'll be doing. But then you get a client who's like, I just don't like vegetables. Have you tried all the vegetables? Well, you probably haven't. Try this thing. Try a different way of cooking it. Cool. Protein wise, I'm not adding all this meat in. Like, I don't like having 300 grams of chicken with a meal. Fair enough. But have you tried, maybe having a little bit less, but like trying seasonings, different ways of cooking it, That's obviously one thing to look into. But what I'll say to my clients is, we're going to follow this plan as best we can. I'm not going to give you, obviously I'll give you general pointers like protein every meal. Cool. 3-4 meals a day. Try get maybe 3-4 hours between meals from a digestive point of view. But with that, I'll kind of leave them go with that initially and be like, right, let's, like if you're starting me online, for example, that's what I'll say to you initially. Just go with that and let me see what you do. right? Because I can't coach you until I have a bit of an understanding of how you function. So I let them go off and do that for a few days, and we check in twice a week, and maybe we check in on a Thursday and a weekly check-in over the weekend. And then when I look at these check-ins for the first couple of weeks, I can then pick up on their habits, their behaviors, what they actually do. Because at the end of the day, I want this to be something that they can, like the results they get from a food point of view, be something they can maintain long term. Because I think from a weight loss point of view, the area people struggle with most is going to be diet and nutrition, because it is the more tricky part to get control of. And so then when I get a bit of information, a bit of data back from them, okay, well, this person's protein intake is really, really low. Note that. Their fiber intake is non-existent. That's a bit low. Okay, well, but their calories are spot on. As a result, their carbs and fats are a little higher. Cool. Well, I'll ask them, like, well, tell me, like, what do you struggle with, like, from a protein point of view? I'll very rarely say to them, do this, until I'm asking questions. Like, questions are huge from a coaching point of view. I think coaching is very much a case of asking really good questions and knowing when to ask them. So it's kind of like, okay, protein intake's low. Why do you think that is? No, I don't like eating meat. I don't like eating so much meat. I don't know what sources to take in. And generally speaking, people don't normally go for like a big protein source. They'll have like a bit of a chicken breast or this or that, and like nothing major. And naturally the protein will be a little lower. It's like, cool, well, let's dispel any kind of prior beliefs you had to food, and let's just go aim for, that protein portion you had there, add an extra 50% to that. So instead of having 100 grams of chicken breast, have 150. You probably won't notice the change, but macro-wise you will. Fiber-wise, why was that so low? Well, I don't really eat much fruit and veg. Fair enough, me too, And some people just don't particularly want to do that, and that's fine. So it's kind of like, okay, well, how can we get that for higher? Fiber One bars, they're kind of tasty. Maybe we can get some of them in a day. All brand cereal tastes like cardboard, but like 100 grams of that, I know this because I do it myself, has 27 grams of fiber in it. Maybe play around with that a little bit and just make it, like, if you want to have that, go for it. And then we'll go off again. And like every week, it'll be similar enough. Okay, this thing wasn't fantastic. Why was that the case? Because of this reason. Cool. Let's try this. A few days go by. How's that? That was fine. Cool. We go again. And then as this goes on, all of a sudden now, instead of taking every single nutritional issue someone has as to why their weight loss wasn't happening beforehand, we catch 2 or 3 little things every single week. And we give them really, really easy ways to overcome those issues. And then when they stick that out for 12, 16, 24 weeks, 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, I've had a client for 3 years now. These habits and behaviors, they start stacking up. You start habit stacking. If anyone's read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, you'll know what that means. Habit stacking is basically, instead of aiming to do everything at once, pick 1 or 2 small things to work on and then build on that week to week to week to week. And from a food point of view, if you want to get, manage your diet, kind of like we talked about beforehand, and actually enjoying ourselves, if we can work on some small things and not look to do, because at the end of the day, if we look to do everything all at once, we'll feel overwhelmed, hit the eject button, nothing will happen. If we can focus on a few small things day to day, week to week, and just build on that as we go along, well, all of a sudden, like we said beforehand, like you're going to notice, oh my God, of all of these really good habits from a food point of view, all of a sudden now adhering to the deficit of calories, or, eating this food or eating that food, or doing what I need to do from a food point of view that allow me to lose weight consistently, isn't a chore. It's actually really easy and actually really enjoyable. If we can take that approach to food, I think most people have a much better time, actually, an easier time, a sustainable time actually losing that weight.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. You said it all very well. I like how you go into these details, and building habits, I think that's something very important. Something came up to my mind again, I wanted to say, and then blanked out. What I do when I know my schedule, I know my classes, and when I know there's a gap, I plan my session. I go to my schedule. I'm very much agenda based.
Me too.
Everything, like I have things are in my calendar. Everything has, most things that are important have a slot.
My life is on Google Calendars. My life is on Google Calendars.
Yeah, I use the digital, but it's similar.
Yeah.
But basically, I would put a session there. This is what I'm gonna do. This is the session I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And I prioritize that.
Yeah, I think such an underrated tool is time management. I'll say to my clients, like, your priority shouldn't be training, nutrition, sleep, stress management, digestion, X, Y, and Z. Your priority should be time management. Because at the end of the day, if you're, like I said before, and if you're working crazy hours during a week, or just, you feel like you don't have time, you probably do have time. But you, again, like someone who says I don't have time, it's probably someone who doesn't plan their days or plan their shit. They wake up the latest they can to get up, have a shower, have a coffee, and go to work. They come home, they'll sit down, an hour, half an hour, okay, make some food, I'll order pizza, I'll do this, I'll do that, watch TV, and then go to bed. If it'll feel like you don't have time when you do that, but like when you sit down and get really good at time management, I don't know if that camera just picked up my tummy rumbling. That was fantastic.
It actually did. Actually,
did it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's terrifying. So anyway, he just heard that. I'm really hungry. My god, my tummy just left the biggest rumble. That's horrible.
This is gonna be funny.
Oh my god, like I just paused. I was like, oh, this isn't stopping. This is horrible. Oh my god.
I know there was a dog barking outside.
There's a dog. Yeah, there's a dog going outside as well.
That was you.
Like, oh god, the dog as well. No, there was a dog barking, but that noise was my tummy. These are very good microphones. Sorry, forgive me what I was saying. Oh my god,
About people going home being tired.
Yeah, exactly.
And then time on the run.
There we go. And like, if you do something as simple as like on a Sunday, and this is what I've started doing myself, and I got my clients to do this as well. Before I was rudely interrupted by my own digestive system, is like literally sit down and like plan. Oh, thank you. I'll put it a little close to you. Plan everything out. You know, because you don't know what time you have until you actually sit down and look at it. You know, we have 168 hours in our week, 49 of that sleeping, ideally. Let's look at everything else. So, you know, if you sit down like Otto said there, and like, okay, 3 times a week, let's find half an hour, if even to train, right? Okay, I have half an hour. Okay, I finish work at 5 o'clock. I'll get home, takes 45 minutes. 6 o'clock, I'll act except for half an hour. Cool. Instead of sitting down and watching Netflix, half an hour there. Stop at a Netflix episode, whatever it is, for half an hour workout. Could be at home, could be in the gym, going for a run, could be whatever. You know, if you have more time, maybe you drive to the gym, whatever you want, really. And like, you know, plan everything out. Like I think the first thing I'll do is plan out when I'm working, because naturally I have to work money for everything. You know, to pay for shit. Living in Dublin, that is very prioritized. You need to prioritize that. So cool. Well, first things first, let's plan out, you know, my check-ins, my programming, my client, what I'm doing work-wise, you know, podcasts, whatever I'm doing. Let's plan that in first. Cool. And then like I'll use Google Calendars, but whatever you use to plan your day, it could be like a whiteboard, whatever it is. Cool. Well, look at this is what I love about Google Calendars or whatever you use online, is because you can actually see your gaps. It's like, cool. Well, there's a gap there.
Yeah.
Fill that in with training. Cool. Well, there's another gap. I'm not going to put it in, but just go for a walk here. You know, okay, well, maybe I want a meal prep, or I just want to not even meal prep, but just make a meal fresh. Okay, there's half an hour there. Let's go for it. Do you know, kind of way? Because when you don't plan these things out, it's very easy to go to autopilot, where you just kind of like, you know, go on your phone, watch Netflix, and kind of pass time just sitting there doing nothing. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's definitely a time and place to just sit there and do nothing. It's absolutely fine. You know, there's no reason why. Yeah, exactly. There's no reason why you can't chill out and just be a normal human and just go on your phone and do whatever. But what I'm saying is, you can still do that, probably a good amount, and enjoy yourself and chill out and do nothing, but still plan in time for other things. You'll be doing a little less of the Netflix and the phone, and that's, you know, nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of like, the time is definitely there. Get really good at managing that time so you can plan things in. So what I'll do is sit down on a Sunday, I'll plan out my work week, and then once I plan out everything, I have to, like, the priorities, like work stuff, if I'm going out with my girlfriend, whatever I'm doing, things I have to do, that goes in. And then I come afterwards. Cool. I'm going to train here, train here, train here. I might go for a walk here, here, here. I have time around here for, so long as I see those little white gaps, I know I can do other things. So that's what I kind of prioritize doing. So yeah, don't focus on the things themselves. Focus on getting really good at managing your time. And then everything else generally tends to follow.
Yeah. I think one very important factor is having good sleep.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, I've noticed on myself, if I don't have good sleep, and obviously working for Westwood, I was sleep deprived heavily.
Everyone who works for Westwood is sleep deprived.
I was working, like, at some point I was working 60 hours a week.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, and basically what I realized is, if you don't sleep well, then your motivation to eat healthy and do the things you wanted to do are just not viable. You know, you just go and lie down in the sofa and turn on the TV. I'm the YouTube guy, so I don't go watching Netflix so much. I would just go watching stuff on YouTube, which is the same thing, really. Yeah. But it's really, once you start managing your sleep, then your nutrition is improving, then your habits are improving, you train better, and you can start to see the progress, and your energy starting going up. You start to be more ambitious. You start to get more things done, and that whole process of improving the whole complex of things.
Yeah, I agree. Like, sleep is just like everything we do, the quality of everything we do is controlled by our sleep. Like if we're really sleep deprived, like everything else, I think about it like a bar. So if anyone's watching this, it's kind of like if your sleep is really, really shit down here, okay, well, the quality of everything else is probably going to match that. Like your not even just your training, your energy, like everything, like digestive function, brain function, cognitive function, everything you do is going to be at a lower level. All of a sudden your sleep starts to improve. 7-8 hours sleep a night, good quality sleep, you go to bed on time, you wake up feeling fresh. Well, all of a sudden your energy levels, everything you do, like internally, externally, voluntarily, involuntarily, is going to kind of rise with it. And so once you recognize like sleep controls literally everything you do, like literally everything you do is controlled by your sleep, well, then you kind of realize, okay, I should probably start prioritizing this. Because again, like, yeah, if you have a shit night's sleep, you get like 5, like everyone's had like that night where you go to bed and you're like
2 hours sleep.
Yeah, 2 hours sleep or like
3.
Yeah, like I remember going home after Westwood and getting to bed at 11, waking up at like 4:30 to get to the gym for 6 to PT client. I'm like, oh, we're on 5 hours sleep. I am shattered.
Yeah. Done many times myself.
So many times. PTs naturally, loads of PTs are sleep deprived for that exact reason. You work around someone else's 9 to 5 essentially.
Yeah.
So
and then you do your 9 to 5 almost.
And then you do, exactly. Exactly.
Which is maybe like 2 to 11.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. But then, so like you'll notice everything else you do kind of like drops as well when your sleep is really awful. So yeah, I think one big thing is managing your sleep, because like one thing with sleep, and even from a diet point of view, so there are 2 hormones that control hunger and satiety called ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin controls like hunger, leptin makes you feel full, essentially, to make it really simple. So when we're sleep deprived, we have a massive upregulation in ghrelin and a massive downregulation in leptin, which basically means when you're sleep deprived, you're going to create more of a hormone that's going to make you really, really hungry and way less of one that's going to make you full. So inevitably, when you're sleep deprived, you will naturally consume more and more food, because that's just what your body does as a result. You're massively stressed. Like when your body's stressed, it's smart, but not very smart in terms of kind of like, it goes to very like survivally mode. Cool. I'm really stressed. I'm sleep deprived. So my body is going through some means of stress. Okay. Well, food generally makes me feel less stressed because of a bit of energy. Let's eat way more of that. So I need to make more of a hormone that makes me feel hungry. Got it. Ghrelin, up you go. Cool. Eating more food. And then all of a sudden you're going to recognize, okay, well, I'm sleep deprived. I feel like shit. I'm gaining weight. What's going on? Whereas if you initially go back to your sleep, it's kind of like, if we just improve that, those hormones are going to regulate to the point where you're not eating everything all day. You will naturally feel full after a normal amount of food, and it becomes a lot easier. And then from a training point of view, from an exercise point of view, it's pretty obvious. When you're sleep deprived, a lot of things happen. Number one, energy levels just go to absolute muck because you've not slept very well. You're going to be groggy all day. So like trying to get a workout in or do a heavy barbell squat or whatever you're doing or even just do a class or whatever you're doing, go on a fucking spin bike for however many time when you want to go nap, good luck. Going for a big walk outside when you want to sleep, good luck. No one is going to be on the couch who wants to go for a nap after 3 hours sleep and go, I'll go for a walk now. No, they're going to lie down on the couch and go for a snooze, And then there's the other side of things with recovery. Even if you do go for a workout, you muster up the energy, go for a run, go for a workout, do something, you're not going to recover. So the likelihood of you doing it again tomorrow or the next day becomes significantly less. So even if you do anything, the quality is going to be pretty poor and the recovery is going to be even worse. So the likelihood of you being consistent is just not going to happen. So yeah, like the key thing is me sleep. And like there's a few really basic things we can do to improve our quality of sleep. I think the most important thing is actually recognize that consistency is key. We have so many people who will go to bed at like 11 or 10 p.m. because they're wrecked. The next night they go to bed at 1 a.m. because they're watching Netflix, and then 10 p.m. again, then 1 a.m., then 12, then 1, then 12, then 10, then 11, then 12. It's so varied. And then as a result, they'll wake up at 6 o'clock and they'll wake up at, okay, the weekend's here, I'm going to wake up at 10 or 11. And it's kind of like the reason you're feeling so sleep deprived and you can't sleep certain days, you can sleep other days because your body doesn't have routine. Your body loves routine. One thing about your body is that it loves routine. It's why if you wake up in the middle of the night, you probably wake up at the same time. If you look at your alarm clock and you're like, oh my God, it's 3 a.m. or 3:01 yesterday and the day beforehand. That's crazy. It's not crazy. You've just woken up at the same time because your body just generally loves routine in any way, shape or form. So you wake up a lot during the night, you have quality sleep. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the time you wake up and the time you go to sleep at are pretty consistent, because we have this thing called our circadian rhythm, which is basically when we're asleep and when we're awake. So if that can be consistent, if we anchor that in place, well, cool. Like we'll always be asleep at this time. We'll always be awake at that time. So it's kind of like, me personally, I'll go to bed around 11, 12, and I'll wake up around 7, 8. Like 7 a.m. people are kind of like, you get up at, like sometimes I have to get up at 6 just for work stuff. And it's kind of like, there was a time I'd be in bed at 10 p.m. up at 6 a.m. and I'd always be wide awake at 6. Sunday, Saturday come along, I'll be up at 6. Why? Because I'm naturally awake at that time. It's not because I'm a weird, freaky person, #grind. No, my body just naturally wakes up at this time because that's just how I go up doing things, And it's like, if we can just try, and like, just don't get me wrong, like there are going to be days where like you're going to have to go to bed later. That's normal. You go for a night out, you do something, that's fine. You want to have a lie-in, cool, you probably wake up at the same time, but just like try not go, like stay in bed, just go. That's time to go on your phone, to go on Netflix, to fuck around and do nothing. If you're having a lie-in, that's fine. But try and have your sleep and wake time as consistent as you can, as often as you can. The second thing is going to be having some kind of a wind down routine. So like before going to bed, now listen, everyone's going to have a different amount of time. Some people might only have half an hour. People will always have at least half an hour to wind down. So if someone tells me I don't know half an hour before bed, shut up, you're lying. You have half an hour before bed, or if you get like an hour and a half, 2 hours to wind down, fucking sweet. Whatever you have, go for it. And just do things that kind of transition to sleep, because you can't go from being really, really wired, work, fucking stressed to asleep. It doesn't work like that. You need to have some kind of transitioning phase to, it's like if you're driving a car, you don't just drive a car and then stop automatically. You put the brake on, you get slower and slower and slower, and then you stop. We got to figure out how we got to put the brakes on in a really slow manner so we don't just slam and hit whatever's in front of us. So like things we could do that are really good for winding down. Things like, reading a book, like it keeps you distracted but not stimulated because you're following a book. It's like watching
a bright light.
Yeah, bright like lights. Like we have a massive light in front of us now. If we record this podcast at like 10, 11, 12 at night, we'd be fucked. So like, things like, if you have dimmers in your house, yeah, cool, put the dimmers on. But if you don't have dimmers, turn the ceiling lights off and turn on lamps. If you have those like really weird looking orange blue light glasses, they could be quite helpful. Meditation is it's a very like well studied one. Like it's not about the quality of meditating. People kind of hear meditation, they think, oh, hippy dippy stuff. Like literally close your eyes, just focus on like breathing or something like peaceful for like 10 minutes with your eyes closed, and just take nice deep breaths for 10 minutes. It's going to slow your heart rate down and just generate, it's not like meditating is going to get you into this weird psychedelic trance of sleep. Like no, it just literally just brings your heart rate down and makes you more relaxed.
Calm down.
Yeah, exactly. It just calms you down. Journaling, having a hot shower, hot bath before bed, having a cooler environment around you, having a nice bed, nice pillows, things like that, like making your sleep environment really, really nice. It's going to be key as well. So if we can just do things to improve our quality of sleep, we're going to notice that everything that comes from a fat loss point of view, because like sleep does not directly impact our weight loss, but it'll impact things that will impact our weight loss. So it
actually does.
Yeah, so it actually does. Indirectly it will. So yeah, if you want to lose weight, just like another thing to kind of add to the to-do list is kind of like, how can I improve my sleep? And it might sound like we've put a lot of things in this to-do list to lose weight, but the reality situation is these are all things that require very little work to make big changes. Like if the only thing you do tonight is just, half an hour before bed, meditate for 9 minutes and read a book for 20 minutes. Like that doesn't take a lot of effort to do, but you can easily add that in tonight like that. So it's kind of like if you want to do something, like just start with that. And then as time goes on, play around with other things. And it's kind of like the same with everything from a food point of view, training, activity level, sleep, stress management point of view. Just do some like really small little things that will contribute to that goal. Don't overwhelm yourself and it'll come a lot easier to actually get that done.
Dan,
I talk a lot.
You talk a lot. You talk really well. And I'm saying to myself, this guy is 24 years old. He's very wise. He's very smart. I'm 60 years older. I'm almost 40 in summer. So I can tell you, fair play to you, knowing so much at your age, definitely going to bring it to the next level in the next 10, 15 years.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate that.
Really, really can see that. Kind of like a little semi-intro, getting into it again.
It's nice.
All right, done. Part 3 with little breaks that we do. Question is, what exercises would you recommend for the weight loss? We're gonna stay around the weight loss, but I really like how you added a lot of value on explaining the sleep. Perfect. I read books on it. You got it all spot on. Perfect. So what exercises and why?
Exercise for weight loss. Oh, it's got to be burpees, crunches. No, I'm messing. I think that is definitely one of the biggest especially working in Westwood, it was probably the most common question I was asked. Even now, obviously, like on Instagram, you put up Q&As, you chat to people in the DMs, you chat to clients. Like, I think one thing I hear so much is like, what exercise should I be doing? Because like, you know, everyone wants the easiest possible way of getting there. If there's this secret exercise that my personal trainer can tell me to help me lose weight, well, sweet. I want this to be easy.
There's no perfect plan.
The sad thing is like, it isn't an easy thing to accomplish. So like, if it seems too good to be true, it probably isn't true. There's no one exercise that's going to be great for weight loss. And I think one thing I think a really common misconception when it comes to weight loss is that like you turn muscle to fat to muscle. And it's kind of like saying, I'm going to turn this chair into
gold.
This phone, you know, like I can
please turn into gold and leave it here. Okay.
Literally. I can get rid of this chair and get a phone. I can get a phone, get rid of the chair, but like I can't turn one to the other. Like if I do a certain exercise, like if I have a load of belly fat, you know, and I'm doing a ton of crunches, like I'm working the muscle around my abs, I'm working my abs, my obliques, that's cool. But like the body fat around is just kind of moving around my ab muscles, you know, that kind of way. You will not lose weight around a muscle because you're working that muscle. Again, it kind of comes back to the whole kind of deficit of calorie side of things, you know. However, that isn't me saying that we need to disregard exercise. We just need to not be as focused on what exactly am I doing. Because from an exercise point of view, like when it comes to building muscle, that's when we have to be a little more precise in terms of kind of like, you know, what exercise am I doing? What order am I doing them in? You know, rep ranges. That's where we get super nitty gritty with all that stuff. But when it comes to purely fat loss, we have a nice bit of freedom with exercise because it doesn't matter kind of what we're doing. It's just going to help if we're doing something, you know? So if you hate going to the gym, okay, sweet. Well, if you want to build muscle and you hate going to the gym, that could probably be a bit tricky. But if you want to lose body fat and you hate going to the gym, fine. We don't actually need that. I always say weight loss is kind of like
nutrition then.
Exactly. Like when it comes to weight loss, you know, the two biggest things that are going to impact it are going to be your diet and your activity outside the gym. Like what are you doing the other 23 hours a day? You're not in the gym. Your activity and your sleep. Cool. Like if you nail your sleep, sleep as well. If you nail your diet and you nail activity levels, like your steps outside the gym, like that's going to be doing the most of the work on your weight loss as it is. You don't necessarily need to go to a gym to lose weight, which is probably not something a PT should be saying because, oh no, there goes my business. No.
But it's still very beneficial to do it.
Exactly.
And there's reasons why.
Exactly. But like training is that cherry on top, because at the end of the day, there's more. Like weight loss is cool, but so is actually being a fully functioning, healthy human being. There are a ton of benefits to lifting weights and going to the gym that aren't fat loss. If anything, you know, if you look at how much going to the gym actually contributes to your fat loss, it's a very small percent. Like even think of it in theory. I have 168 hours in my week. Say 3 of them I'm in the gym. And I'm burning, say, 200 calories in my session. Think of how many calories you're burning in your entire week. And then take away that 6. Say you burn 2,000 calories a day. That's 14,000 calories in your week. You take away 600 calories from your gym sessions, probably not going to make that. That's not going to be the be all end all. If it is, we're cutting it very thin. So weight training, being in the gym, your spin classes, your boot camps, your HIIT workouts, your Les Mills spin, whatever it is. I can't say Les Mills spin because that's technically not right. Les Mills RPM, trip RPM sprint. It's kind of like, I'm sorry to tell you, but that's doing sweet fuck all for your weight loss. It'll make you feel good and sweat and there's other benefits, but it's doing sweet fuck all for weight loss. So like, get that out of your head. But like, again, what's going to come from training? Well, building, like no one was ever less healthy for having more muscle unless you're like a pro bodybuilder who has like 300 pounds of, in which case, yeah, heart function, liver function is going to be a bit iffy. But like if you're a normal person like me, you, Otto, going to the gym, getting a bit bigger, a bit stronger, unless we're on any kind of anabolic steroids, we're not going to put on obscenely obnoxious, abnormal amounts of muscle. We're going to be putting on muscle that's going to be adding to our health, you know, getting stronger. Again, as we get older and older, like one massive thing that affects us as we get older is like, you hear about old people falling, you know, and it's kind of like, for me and you, if you fell down, yeah, we'd be fine. But if I'm 8 years old and I fall, you hear about people dying when they're older because they fall down. And it's really sad to hear, but like that's the real situation. You know, we get into not a really hardcore 6-day a week push, pull, legs, rest gym program, but we just lift weights 3 times a week. You know, your likelihood of having falls and even have like those kind of risk of injury in terms of like structural bone, ligament, that kind of way when you're older is significantly reduced. That there's so much that's shown in evidence now that resistance training can lead to that, like, you know, health focus or that health kind of improvement as we get older. But then we look at like ligament health, bone mineral density, overall cardiovascular, everything we do in the gym in terms of cardiovascular work, training work, it's going to do very little to your fat loss. But like on the other side of things, the other 99% of your life that isn't your body fat, it's kind of like it's going to be adding a lot more benefit to that. So from an exercise point of view, when you're looking to lose fat, don't focus on what's the best thing I can be doing. Well, what do you like doing? Because the chances are, if you like going to a class every morning from 9 till 10 in your gym, okay, keep doing that. If you enjoy it, keep doing that. That's absolutely fine. If you like going to the gym and lifting heavy weights for 3 or 4 days a week, cool, keep doing that. If you want to try something out, do it. If you like running, do it. Like whatever you actually like or have an interest in or kind of want to try out, absolutely go for it. It doesn't matter exactly what you're doing, but more so that you're doing something consistently. And then from weight loss point of view,
progressing it,
and
maybe.
then progressing it, of course, making sure over time we're not just doing the same thing over and over again, but like making sure we're lifting more, we're giving more effort in our classes, whatever you're doing, if you're running a little bit more, a little bit longer, a little bit faster, whatever it is. And then from a fat loss point of view, so long as you're, the things like your insurance, the steps, the diet, all that, it's being kept in a good place in the background, do what you want with your training, just enjoy yourself, progress, and just have a good time, essentially, is what I'd say to anyone from a weight loss point of view. Mm-hmm. But then if we get into building muscle, that kind of way, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, and to be honest, we can go into that because, I can tell you what I do with my clients. I tend to give them some sort of resistance training because we strengthening the bones more, we toning the muscles, we strengthening the muscles, we building muscles, we making them more protein dense, and then cardio is their expenditure, and that could be something they can do on their own. They can do a spin bike, they can go for a class or something like that. But I always emphasize that personal training aspect of coaching them to help them with posture, addressing the weak areas of their body, helping them to stretch out, so basically giving a good warm-up, good workout, more like a functional resistance training, and then stretch them out. So basically then for long term they don't get injury, their mobility has improving, and so just overall well-being. And so as a whole package, it and also it helps us to have the time together to coach them, to support them, and to make them more consistent. So from that point of view, that's why I actually base my trainings on the resistance training, because there's the time to chat with as well.
Yeah. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves of being in the gym and like, seeing like 15 minutes of their session at the end on a treadmill, like walking, chatting away to them. It's like they can walk on a treadmill on their own. Yeah. They don't need you for 15 minutes for it. Chat to them while they're training. Chat them between sets. You've had enough time to chat.
Exactly.
If this person's paying you for an hour of personal training, you're spending 15 minutes on a treadmill, fuck you.
Yeah.
To be brutally honest, like.
Yeah, exactly. Give them value, something. Even if you have injury, let's say, and you go to a doctor, you're not expected to know what the whole situation is. Yeah. You're not trained, so I don't expect my clients knowing what they need. Yeah. So I know their goals, I know their needs, I know their weak areas. I should know to educate them, to allow them to have some sort of progression. Yeah. And then when they start to see, okay, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting more flexible, my knee or my back is not sore anymore. So you're helping them in many areas, and then gradually, okay, can we improve the diet? Can we improve the exercise even further on? Yeah. And then, happy long-term clients.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. From a fat loss point of view, like never look at exercise as a means of burning calories. Like you're gonna burn calories anything you do. If you go to a gym, have like the best workout of your life, or have the worst workout of your life. Real situation is your calorie expenditure probably isn't going to be that much different. We burn significantly less calories in a workout than we probably think. You see these classes like you burn 500, 600, 700 calories in a class. First of all, that's bullshit. That's not happening. If you're doing an hour of class or half an hour, you're not burning 500, 600, 700 calories. That's just far too much. But the real situation is, if you're going to a gym with the pure, they found us, haven't they? Fucking hell. If you're going to a gym
10-11,
if you're going to the gym purely with the focus of burning calories, you're probably going to hate what you're doing because it's going to be really boring. If your self-focus is just, in theory, like you hear burning calories, well, I've got to be fucking tired. So you're going to the gym to make yourself really, really exhausted, really, really miserable, really, really tired. Like that's going to run out very quick. You're going to be super disinterested in training really, really fast if that's your approach. A lot of people start going to the gym in January and the New Year's resolutions go out and they stop after like 2 weeks because, you know,
it's too hard.
if I go to just burn calories, I'm going to get tired for half an hour and they're going home. No, fuck that. If you go to the gym with the goal of, you know, okay, I'm going to go to this gym, I'm going to do this work, I'm going to do this class, I'm going to do whatever it is I'm doing, and I'm going to focus on whatever I'm doing now, I'm going to somehow do a little bit more than I did last time. If I'm doing a gym session, okay, I want to get, and say I'm doing a chest fly first or whatever I'm doing first. Okay, cool. I did 3 to 8 to 12 reps. Say last week I did this weight. First set was 12 reps, second set was 10 reps, and the last one was 8 reps. Okay, let's just get it for every set above 10 reps. So you get 12 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps. Cool, that's 2 more than last time. Tick the box. Cool. Because your progression, the real situation, if you're adding 5 kilos on every session to your numbers, you're probably lifting a lot lighter than you think. You know, your progression to the gym, if you're working to at a good intensity, should be small amounts. So when you're in the gym, look for the small little wins, you know, because they're always the most satisfying. You know, if I'm doing a deadlift where I'm adding 5 kilos every week, the real situation is I'm probably not lifting that much. It's not very satisfying to do that. Whereas if I'm lifting a deadlift or like a pull up or a chin up or any exercise for that matter, and I really struggle with that, say like 10th rep, and then the next week I get 12, that's going to feel really, really good because I've actually added 2 reps onto an exercise I could physically not do any more of. So when you're in the gym, really focus on just kind of like actually push yourself to some means of intensity. You know, if that means working with a trainer, working with a coach, working with a friend to just kind of get you doing more, happy days, no problem with that whatsoever. But just when you're in the gym, focus on just doing more and more over time. And then like from a weight loss point of view, it'll do a small amount. It's expending calories. Not like everything we do will burn calories. So don't be doing things with the intention of burning calories, because even if you go without the intent to burn calories, guess what? You're going to be burning calories anyway. Me moving my arms in this podcast, me speaking, me doing everything takes calories to do it. So you're going to be burning calories anyway. You're going to be much more productive taking that time to actually do something productive time, lifting more weights, running faster, you know, giving a bit more well in your gym classes, whatever you're doing. So long as things in the background like your steps and your diet, your sleep are all taken care of, you know, your weight loss is going to come. But the gym side of things is going to give you more benefits in terms of like strength, muscle, ligament strength, bone mineral density. List any kind of health benefit you're going to get from lifting weights. Like there's no real negative to lifting weights apart from like risk of injury, which again, like, you know, if you're doing things right, it will be a lot less. Yeah, if you're careful,
if you're coached well.
Yeah, if you're coached well, if you're doing things properly,
if you have good fundamentals. Yeah,
exactly. It'll come naturally at some point, but like not as much.
Yeah. I personally prefer to always ask my clients if it's okay to put extra weight.
Yeah,
and also I don't say like just do 12. I give them range. Like anywhere from 8 to 12 is good. Anywhere from 12 to 16 is good. Listen, I trust you. You decide how far you go. Okay, like you are in charge. Like I'm not gonna tell you. I don't feel your body. You feel your body. So I can recommend you. Yeah, let's do those last 4 really hard. But you're gonna decide how much is enough. You tell me how many more. Yeah,
exactly. You know? I think it is a good. I think there's a two parts of that. Of course, like number one, like if someone actually can't do anymore, like don't be a dickhead and force them to do more because they're gonna hate you. Like if I feel like I have a client, is that me? Bollocks.
No
if I feel like I have a client who can do more, I'm going to give them a little bit of a push to do a little bit more. Shows that actually. Sorry, I didn't check that there. Yeah, Grant. If I feel like they can do a little bit more, I might push them. I remember a client in the gym called Elaine. She won't mind me saying this, but Elaine, it's like my gym mother. I'll meet her for coffee every now and then now. The amount of times we go to the gym and we'd be on a hack squat, for example. She hate me for doing this, but like I'll be like, oh, we did. Like I'll put like 2 15s on either side. She's like, that's more than last time. I'm like, no, fucking isn't. She goes, yeah, fucking is. I'm like, Elaine, listen, you're losing now. We had that on last week. Would you shut up? And she's like, yeah, fair enough. Now I don't tell all my clients to shut up. Me and Elaine had a very nice relationship, so like we were fine like that. I'm like, listen, shut up, Elaine, let's get on. She's like, yeah, fuck you, go on then. Grand happy days. The entire session we just giving heads to each other. It was really fun. And she got on and be like, oh geez, that was tough, but I got it done. And I was like, guess what? She's like, what? I'm like, you're right. That was 10 more than last time. She goes, Dan, you little shit. I'm like, yeah, no, but you fucking did it, didn't you? She goes, fair enough. It's like there'll be clients where I would like, now listen, how I speak to clients, like I wouldn't speak to everyone like I'd speak to Elaine, but what I'd say is kind of like, you know, if I feel like a client could do more, like, oh, like I'd have an idea of what they be able. If I'm working for a long period of time, I'll have an idea of what they can do. You know, because it's really easy to kind of get comfortable in the gym. At the end of the day, you know, you're not designed to be really comfy in the gym. If that 10 reps was handy, I could do more, but I don't want to. It's kind of like, well, this is the kind of base we kind of probably should do a couple more. So like if someone like feels like, okay, I actually can't do more, yeah, cool, I'll trust you. That's fine. I know you're not bullshitting that. But if someone's like, if I have a client like Elaine who's trying to get out easy, and she won't mind me saying this, it's kind of like, I'm going to make sure if I have to trick you, if I have to hold the thing so you can't, you have to do more, I'll get you to do a little more. You'll be fine. But yeah, only on a few occasions I'll do that.
Yeah.
That's a bit of fun.
Well, in personal trainings, we build relationships, we make connections, and as we get used to each other, we start to slag each other a little bit more. It depends on the person.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't like if I treat every client like I treated Elaine, I'd have very few clients.
Yeah. I had few that we were slagging each other and calling each other names, and it was part of the crack.
It's a bit of fun.
It's a bit of fun. But then there are other who tell you about their problems and tell what's going on, and discreetly we discuss and say, come on, life goes on.
You'll have
keep the head up. Keep the head up. Support them, and the part of the coaching is not that just we only entertain, but we support people.
Yeah, I think that's one thing with personal training that you got to recognize. It's kind of like, and something I think from a PT point of view is like, you have to enjoy yourself, do you know, kind of way. So if I don't want to work with a client who I'm miserable working with.
Yeah.
I've had clients before who especially in Westwood more so, because online I have a bit more pick of who I'm working with. But like in Westwood, if I had someone who I just didn't like, once the session was done, I'd be like, yeah, cool, we're done now. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. Or maybe I refer them on someone else. But like if I'm working with someone, if I'm working with someone I don't like, it's just going to make like your life and their life much more miserable. Like work with someone you enjoy working with. Because if you can have that bit of crack, they're gonna enjoy the session more. They're gonna keep coming back to you, and because they come back to you, you're gonna obviously have more time to get them where they want to be, and because you got them where you want them to be, it's kind of like, okay, well, cool. Well, you've seen results. You've gotten exactly what you want from this. We're both happy.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
Actually, when I was a younger trainer, maybe 9 years ago, I used to have some clients, and they were not as fun to work with. They wouldn't chat too much. They would be kind of like more distanced, more introvertic. And I would feel kind of, if I'm not talking something, I'm kind of like maybe not doing my job properly. And then just realize problem was me actually having problem being quiet,
Yeah.
And just now, like if they're quiet in such a mood, so like I'm okay with being quiet, like what's the worst thing that can happen, They can talk to me as well.
No, I completely agree. I think having as a personal trainer, having comfort with clients and like having that rapport, having that relationship, it's so important. So important.
It is, yeah. Do you think some supplements are worth it for weight loss or in general for health, just top up the basic needs from nutrition? Is there anything you would recommend?
So when it comes to supplementing, I think like every PT will say to you like, oh, don't bother supplements, you don't need them. Like, no, you don't need them, but they certainly can help. I think it's a very important thing to, whenever someone gives a blank statement of, you don't need them, it's kind of like you've got to question that to some extent because, well, they're there for a reason. They probably could help you out, do you know, kind of way? Like, first thing I say is like, people, generally speaking, eat very little fruit and veg. So what happens with that? Well, fiber and overall micronutrients are going to be a little lower. Vitamins, minerals, going to be a little under. And now if I take a good multivitamin, well, I'm covered really. It's cheaper. It's more convenient, like cheaper in a way, like per pill. Like if you look at how much food you need to buy to get what's in this one pill, it's kind of like, yeah, it's more convenient. People say, oh, it's a fucking pill. You can't be comparing it. Like, shut up. It's more convenient. Like that. And there's no adverse health risk of taking a multivitamin tablet, so from a convenience point of view, from a cost point of view, like taking a multivitamin is like a nice little safety net. Now, this isn't me saying don't eat fruit and veg to take this little pill. Take that first thing in the morning to like cover you, but like again, like there's gonna be so much other health benefits from eating more fruit and veggie diet. So like just have this as a cover, for example. Like vitamin D, for example, unless you're living somewhere really hot and sunny, like in Ireland, Ireland, UK, everyone should be taking vitamin D every single day because
mostly winter.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly winter, but it's genuine one of the things like you're probably going to benefit from getting it year round as again, like a safety net because, Ireland and the UK and just generally kind of, colder countries, it's no shock that we have very little sun. Like, fortunately,
it's more cloudy as well.
Yeah, it's more cloudy. So we naturally don't get as much vitamin D in. So, having a vitamin D supplement day to day, again, can be really helpful. Things like creatine, for example. Creatine, like we talk about kind of building muscle, building strength, if we can do something that's going to help with that, we're going to want to take it. Creatine, monohydrate, to be more specific, creatine monohydrate, you know, it's the most well-researched supplement going, you know, from a health point of view, from a muscle development point of view, from a strength point of view. It will help that, not like drastically. It won't be like, oh, this magic pill, but it will lead to some improvements. And there's research on creatine. Like, you look at creatine from meat products, from like steak, for example, and other products. But like, when you get creatine from like steak, for example, it's really important. Like, you when you cook it, you actually denature the enzymes within that food source. So the creatine actually, it's not as effective. So there are times where actually supplement creatine is going to be more beneficial for you. So there you go. And even things like fish oil tablets, for example, you know, like omega-3 fish oil. Like, we look at supplements, we want supplements. The reason I'm saying these four is because it supplements the diet. It's not your diet, but it's supplementing the diet. It's why they're called supplements, not food. It's a supplement. So it's kind of like, if we look at omega-3 fish oils and like fish oil tablets, like, generally speaking, people just don't eat enough oily fish to get their weekly or daily recommended amount. So it's kind of like, well, a fish oil tablet is probably going to be helpful, because, like, taking the population as like a generalization, it's kind of like people are generally lacking or deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. People are generally deficient in vitamin D. People are generally deficient in omega-3 fish oils. It's kind of like, well, let's just supplement them. They're cheap, they're cheerful.
Good idea, by
it gets it done. And it's kind of like, it's no harm. If you get it in through food as well, happy days. But it's kind of like, these four are just there. Now, there are supplements that, like weight loss supplements, like fat burning pills. And it's kind of like, they're a waste of time. They just are a waste of time. A fat burning pill has one main ingredient now, but it used to have two main ingredients. The main ingredient is, number one, is caffeine. So if you see like a fat burning pill, you're essentially taking in a caffeine pill. A very expensive caffeine pill, because you can get caffeine pills You can get caffeine powder from bulk powders. I think it's just called bulk now for like £6. Yeah. It lasts about 2 years. Unbelievable. But like, if you get like a fat burning supplement, for example, fat burner is literally just mainly caffeine. So the whole logic behind a fat burning supplement is kind of like, well, if you have more caffeine, you'll be moving more. So you're more likely to lose weight. What would have been in fat burning pills before and is a very small dose of laxatives. And for those who don't know laxatives makes you shit, essentially. It's like if you're in a hospital and someone needs you to like pass, they'll give you a laxative, If you put a small amount of that into a fat burning pill, I don't have to do it anymore. Again, it's a weight loss pill. You will lose weight. You take a big enough shit, you'll lose weight. You shit a little bit more, to sound really crude, you will lose more weight. So if you have more caffeine in you and less shit in you, you'll probably move a little bit more and lose a bit more weight from not body fat, but other things. You may weigh less, but it probably won't be what you want to weigh less of. So yeah, that's pointless. But general kind of supplements, like I would always recommend those four, just for like, again, if you don't take them, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to be like you're fucked. You're no point doing anything else. Now, if you don't have a multivitamin, creatine, fish oil and vitamin D, yeah, that's no problem. But if you can, like, it's probably going to be helpful. Just for overall health, well-being, maybe not weight loss. I wouldn't really say there's any something that's going to help from weight loss. Like whey protein as a supplement can be quite helpful, not directly for weight loss, but when
meal
we say
replacement, maybe even
that, like from a point of view, kind of like, if someone's struggling with their protein up, okay, have a scoop or two of protein every single day. It's going to be quite helpful. Also keep you fuller longer. I wouldn't promote relying on it, but it's quite handy to have it there.
It's handy, especially for muscle building.
Exactly.
Like if you want to bulk up muscles for guys or athletes.
Yeah, it's just helpful. Like it's like, I think the protein's
convenient.
It's convenient. If you can get, your protein take without whey protein, don't bother. But if it helps you, you enjoy it, you enjoy the flavor it brings to your food, and you want to have a shake every now and then, you just like that, then absolutely go for it. It can be helpful. But yeah, there's no specific supplement that will be game changing from a weight loss point of view. There are supplements that'll help from a general health and well-being point of view that I mentioned there. Fat burning pills wouldn't bother. And that's already you need to know, I suppose, from a supplement point of view when it comes to weight loss. Like there are things like there's something called Yohimbine, which I'm not too well versed on, but I forget exactly how it works. But there's something that can help weight loss to some extent. Now this doesn't mean everyone go out and fucking buy it. It's actually, you can actually buy it in Ireland and the UK. It's actually illegal. So if you are to buy it, you have to get it imported. It's not a steroid, because the way I'm describing it sounds very like iffy fucking steroid. It's not a steroid, but like it does have properties in that will help from a weight loss point of view. But again, that's going hand in hand with things like, diet. Like just because take a certain supplement like Yohimbine or a fat burning pill, for example, which again doesn't work. It's kind of like, well, if your diet sucks, you're not active, or you're not doing anything else.
No need for supplements for that.
No need for supplements. Cover like what else is going to earn your right for that kind of stuff. If you're going for supplements when you're not looking at your diet, you're not looking at your sleep, you're not looking at your training, you're not looking at your stress management, you're not looking at anything like that, supplement's not going to do very much. If you're really good at those few basics and you've nailed them to a T, you maybe dip into supplements because it can give you that extra 0.5%, that extra 1% benefit that's going to help you get where you want to be,
Yeah, with supplements, I studied chemistry pharmacology for 5 years when I was in my high school. And so we covered a lot of stuff there and pharmaceuticals as well. So I would be always inclined to study vitamins and their benefits. And, like one of the things is as well, if you don't have good health, if you feel like your energy is lacking, maybe get the blood done and check. Maybe you're lacking something and you might find a specific vitamin or mineral is lacking, but then also taking too many vitamins and minerals, you can actually cause a problem as well, especially A, D, E, K, fat-soluble vitamins, you can overdose. So even the vitamin D, I think recommendation is 4,000 international units as a general idea. But again, if you have a bigger person, they need more. Smaller person need less, and depends also if you are enough on sunshine. But in the winter, we should take almost like every day 4,000 international units just for general health. Because if vitamin D is down, then things goes down as well in the body. It's very important. It's a hormone-like vitamin and regulates a lot of functions with the immune system. And also one habit that I have is if I would feel some sort of infection, let's say something is going to my throat, and I know like if I don't treat it, I will be sick next day. So again, I boost vitamin C, zinc, and D3 as well. So the zinc and the vitamin C are just super cheap, super easy to get. And I would take 3 grams of powder of vitamin C at once, and then take maybe a gram and gram for the day. Usually when I wake up next day, I'm feeling so much better.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Just basically first thing thinking, okay, something is going on me, I will defend it. I will boost my immune system. So hydrate more, sleep better, and basically don't eat fried food, don't eat high sugar food. Just do anything you can for your body to actually start working on your defense.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah. Do we want to add anything to this podcast?
From a weight loss point of view, I think we've covered as much as we need to cover, to be honest.
We nailed it.
Yeah, I think we got everything we need, to be honest.
Yeah, for this part, definitely. I'd say we get lots of ideas to our listeners and viewers to think about and apply.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to learn more about what I do, kind of follow me. I'm most active on Instagram. That's @coachedbydan. I got in before anyone else get the coached by Dan with no underscore, so I love that. And so if you go on Instagram, look up coached by Dan, you'll find me there. And I'll be posting pretty regular content there. If anyone wants to work with me one-to-one, you can go to coachedbydan.com, and so everything, what I do, who I help, how I help people, a few client testimonials and before and afters, and that's all there as well. But if you go to my Instagram page, the little link tree bio is my bio there. Everything can be found there pretty much, and that's where you can find me. Yeah.
Cool. And you guys can listen to the podcast on Oto Winkler podcast, Spotify or YouTube as well.
Perfect. Sweet.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks so much for having me, man. Appreciate that.
All the best.
Really
Have a good day.
Thanks so much. Cheers.